Hello everybody and welcome back to Expert Examiner IELTS. My name is Glyn and in this video we're going to do some more IELTS writing. I thought we're going to do IELTS writing task 2, but I thought I would pick probably the trickiest type of question. Let's do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. A lot of people seem to be confused about this type of question, but let's have a look at the question first. In recent years, when is in recent years? Maybe the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 50 years, maybe. In recent years, more and more people, shows it's a trend, more and more people are choosing to read ebooks rather than paper books. So we should understand, first of all, the question, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Outweigh, like more than. Tricky word, outweigh. It's heavier than, but it's not heavy in the literal meaning. Not like real kilograms or something like this. It's heavy in the figurative meaning, the metaphorical meaning. So really, like, what's more noticeable, what's more obvious, what's more valuable, the advantages or the disadvantages? Really, we're saying in general, is it a good thing that people are using ebooks more than paper books, or is it a bad thing? But this is a balanced essay, so you do have to cover both sides of the argument here. Sometimes you get questions like, what do you think, or what's your opinion? And you can write it as a one-sided essay. This, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, is a two-sided essay. So you have to, or you should, mention both sides of the argument. And this is, and again, because we have advantages, plural, disadvantages, means we have to get through a lot. Probably we have to mention at least 2 advantages and at least 2 disadvantages and then work through it. Now, my approach to this, I think, most IELTS essays can be done in 4 paragraphs, and this is no exception. You can do this in 4 paragraphs, absolutely. But this is one essay where I prefer, I just think it looks nicer with 6 paragraphs. Don't freak out about that. It's okay. I'll just show you how that looks first of all. Paragraph 1, introduction. Paragraph 2. Now, paragraph 2, this will be our first body, and really, it depends on what we think. So my approach to this, and please understand, this is only my approach, right? There are lots of people who say, you must do this to get a Band 8. There are many, many ways of getting a Band 8. Many different types of approaches can get you a Band 9, can get you a Band 8. Don't listen to any guru that says, you have to do this, you have to do this, like, you have to follow this paragraph structure. Trust me when I say there is a lot of flexibility about approaches. Of course, some approaches are awful, like not using paragraphs. That's a big problem. But, should you write 4 paragraphs? I prefer it. But in this type of essay, I prefer 6. Anyway, so first thing I want to do, before I think about the structure, actually, I want to think about my position. So I'm going to take the easy position. Yes. Advantages outweigh the disadvantages. So that's my position. Now the position will help me order the paragraphs, right? So if my position is yes, the ebooks, the advantage of the ebooks outweigh the disadvantages, if that's my position, my paragraph 2 and paragraph 3 will talk about things that are not my position. So not my position here is that there are more disadvantages. So I want to mention first disadvantage 1, then disadvantage 2. And then this will help me then to contrast it with my view. So I put forward what other people say first, and then I present my view afterwards. And I think that's a nice approach in this. You could, of course, link this into one paragraph. You absolutely could. No problem with that, but I prefer to do different paragraphs. Paragraph 4, advantage 1. Paragraph 5, advantage 2. Now my conclusion here, paragraph 6, my conclusion, I might want to summarize some of my points, but that's 4 points to summarize, and it feels like quite a lot. So I want to hammer home my message. So to hammer something home is a strange idiomatic expression. It means just to state my opinion strongly. Of course, I will try to put forward the argument here quite strongly compared to here quite tentatively. Tentatively means not very strongly. So with disadvantages, I want to make them seem like, they're just some things that other people say, but I'm not quite sure if, that they're not really strong. And then with paragraphs 4 and 5, I want to make this stronger so that it's obvious that this is my view. But in the conclusion, I really want to make that point again that, this is my view. And even in the introduction, I want to state my point of view. I don't want to explain why, but I want to state my point of view. But we will get to that in a moment. Don't worry about that. If you're looking at the structure and you think, I'm not quite sure what that will look like, don't worry. I will be following this structure in this writing task in this video. So before I get into writing, I want to do a little brainstorm. Now, in my brainstorm, I want to think of advantages, and I want to think of at least 3. Then I want to think of disadvantages, and again at least 3. This will help me with my idea generation. I might even think of more, but it just helps to have this little brainstorming session just with nice simple ideas. So advantage 1 of using ebooks, okay, let's just make no particular order. Storage. By storage I mean, if you have paper books, you have to find a place for them. They are heavy, blah blah blah. So storage is 1. Availability. By this I mean that not all bookshops might have the book that you want. If you're looking for something obscure like I don't know, Peter Wessel Zapfe or something, a Norwegian philosopher, you might not find that in a bookshop, but you can find that online in digital form. Cool. Any other advantages? Well, I mentioned storage, but also like the weight of the books, even like carrying them around. That's an advantage of ebooks. Cool. So those are 3 advantages, and I think I can work with those. I don't need to come up with more. I might come up with more if I feel like one of those points I feel isn't, I don't like it very much. But those 3 points, I think I can work with those. Disadvantages. A lot of people mention like the feel of the pages, don't they? When you're reading a book, you want to feel the pages, smell the pages. That's one argument, I guess. The second argument, I should put another advantage, which is environmental. I don't know about electricity. Electricity, of course, has an impact on the environment, but does it have an impact on the environment as much as like cutting down trees to get paper to make all of these books? I don't know. So disadvantages of these ebooks. Feel of the pages is 1. I think of anything else like strain or the problems with eyes. There are some people who say that it's not healthy for your eyes if you're looking at a screen all the time. I don't think it's a very strong argument, and I think the science actually says looking at a screen doesn't damage your eyesight. It might make you feel tired, but it doesn't, make you see worse. But anyway, and disadvantage number 3. Can I think of a disadvantage number 3? Maybe more difficult to lose your library. Maybe less hassle. That might be a point, right? Sometimes I use Amazon Kindle a lot for I have a membership there, and I get a lot of books, and I download get the audiobook and I get the PDF. I like reading as I listen, but sometimes there's a problem, like because I use a VPN, it's like, oh, it's the wrong store, and I have to write to customer service, hey, I paid for this, I bought this, but it's not in my library. Why isn't it in my library? Or this isn't downloading, or you didn't send the PDF with this, or something like this. You know, you don't get that problem when you just buy a book in the shop. You buy the book in the shop and the book is yours. You don't have to write to customer service to complain about anything. So I've taken a bit of time to have my brainstorm. Now, I'm not going to use all of these points, of course. My next task is just to think about 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages that I think are easy to explain. Okay, availability. I love this about ebooks, so I'm going to choose availability, and also I'm going to talk about storage. I think it's very, very easy to talk about those 2 things. Environmental, I'm not sure about, you know, the effect that big companies making digital copies, I don't know about that effect on the environment. I know cutting down trees for paper can be a problem, but I don't feel comfortable really explaining this point. Wait, I might tie that in with storage if I have enough time, but okay, I don't think I need these 2. Disadvantages. Less hassle is a meaningful one, but I want to choose weak arguments here. So specifically, I'm going to try to use weak arguments, which is feel of the pages and problems with the eyes. I don't think those arguments are strong. And because my position is yes, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, I want it to look like the arguments for paper books are weak, but the arguments for electronic books, for ebooks, are strong. So it's a little bit of sophistication in the approach. Okay, so I have my structure. I know what my structure looks like. Great. So I need to choose order. I'll just go with this order. So first I need to write an introduction. Now in my introductions, I like to give a bit of background information about the subject first. So background information, what is the subject here? Really, it's reading, isn't it? The background subject is reading. So let's say for centuries, reading has been a popular hobby. And again, in this, I'm going to approach this not trying to write the best essay I can. I'm going to approach this as like, what's the best essay someone with B2 grammar and B2 vocab can write. So I'm not aiming for absolute band 9. I'm aiming for a nice, clear, not too difficult essay to write. For centuries, reading has been a popular hobby for people all over the world. Nowadays, people have started reading ebooks, electronic books, or let's just call it ebooks, ebooks more than paper books. Some people think that this has, well, some people, yeah, okay, I want to keep it simple, keep it simple, keep it simple. Some people say that there are many disadvantages to this, but I strongly believe that the advantages are more meaningful. Cool. Hopefully about 50 words. 44. Amazing. Great. So we are going. So we have a background information about the subject. We have a reference to the question. And we have my position here. I haven't explained why I believe it, but I have mentioned that there are disadvantages, but I've also mentioned my point of view. Cool. So body paragraph 1, we've agreed that that's going to be disadvantage 1, the feel of the pages. People who prefer paper books often talk about the feel and smell of the physical pages. They say that it adds They say that it makes the process of reading more enjoyable, and that reading from an ebook does not give you the same experience. Additionally, so I'm hoping for about 40 words here, so I can have 40 and 40. Oh, amazing. Exactly 40. So I want 40 and 40 for the next paragraph too. Additionally, and notice I'm not going into great detail, just explaining the point of view. The next one, problems with eyes. Additionally, some people believe that reading books on screens can give you problems with your vision. Do I want to develop this or do I want to counter this? I'm going to counter this. I don't feel I need to develop that point. I feel that point's pretty clear. I'm going to counter it. However, in the 21st century, looking at screens is part of our daily lives, and if reading ebooks really was a serious threat to our health, I do not think that shops would be allowed to sell e-readers. So I've just tried to debunk that point of view, just showing that it's weak. And this helps to maintain my consistent position. It shows that, yes, I do believe the advantages are more meaningful because I think the disadvantages are weak. Despite these downsides, I want to use alleged downsides to show that I don't really believe that they are downsides. So we have this nice word, alleged. Alleged means it's not something I really believe, it's just something that other people say. But because I'm writing this aiming it at a band 7 in terms of grammar and vocab, I don't want to use alleged. Despite these downsides, trying to find synonyms for advantage, disadvantage. Despite these downsides, the most obvious upside is the number of books, or the most obvious upside is the availability of the greater or the bigger, the wider availability of books in a digital format. For example, if one has obscure, you might not know obscure. Okay, let's make it very, very simple. For example, sometimes we want to buy a book, a particular book, but the shop simply does not have it. This is often want to buy a particular book, but the shop, why did I miss that article? That's strange. But the shop simply does not have it. This hardly ever happens. I'm going to even make it stronger. This never happens when you buy ebooks. Now let's not use maximalist language. This rarely happens when we buy books online. Cool. Another major advantage of ebooks is that we do not have to store them in our homes. Physical paper books, let's go with physical. Physical books are heavy and take up a lot of space, while ebooks can, while hundreds of ebooks can fit on a device which is small enough to put in your pocket. Okay, so I'm really hoping that I'll have about 160 for the body. I might go up to 170. Let's see. Tools, word count, 143. Awesome. I'm doing very well here. Oh, sorry. No. I missed this one. Okay, 180. Great. Ish. In total now, that means that I am at... Remember, I don't want to go over 300. Word count, I'm at 227. This is perfect. Perfect. For my introduction, I had, 46 words? 44 words? Great. So, I want a conclusion around the similar length. So, my conclusion here, I don't think I have time really to summarize all of these points. So, I'm going to say, in conclusion, and I never use anything else. I never use, you can use in sum or to conclude. I always use in conclusion when I'm doing my writing. In conclusion, while some people might be worried about, maybe I can summarize the points. No, I won't. Well, some people might be against certain aspects of reading ebooks. It seems clear to me that the advantages are far more meaningful than... Did I use meaningful earlier? I did use meaningful. I'm going to change that. Far more significant than the disadvantages. People have always been suspicious. This is my reflective comment. People have always been suspicious about new technologies, and I believe that it is a matter of time before, because it's too difficult, and I believe that people will soon accept believe that the majority of people will soon accept the new way of reading. Okay, am I 100% satisfied with this essay? Not really, but it's a fast attempt. It's just a quick attempt. Just going to do a quick word count. I'm hoping to be at about, 280 would be nice. I like 280. 279. Look at that. Very nice. Okay, so before I add any more comments, I do want to check to make sure I don't have any mistakes. For centuries, reading has been a popular hobby for people all over the world. Nowadays, people have started reading ebooks more than paper books. Okay, maybe I don't like the cohesion here. Just have 3 sentences. Maybe I just make that and just makes it slightly more cohesive. Nowadays, people have started reading ebooks more than paper books, comma, and some people say that there are many disadvantages to this. However, I strongly believe that the advantages are more meaningful. Okay, fine. People who prefer paper books often talk about the feel and smell of the physical pages. Are we okay with the feel and smell? Maybe people aren't comfortable with feel and smell as nouns. And notice how I'm saying people who prefer paper books. I'm not saying this is me. I'm saying people who prefer paper books. They say, they, meaning people who prefer paper books, good referencing, they say that it makes the process of reading more enjoyable, comma, and that reading from an ebook does not give you the same experience. Notice I don't use the contracted form, I use two words, does not, academic style. It's not a big deal. A lot of academic writing nowadays does have contractions like doesn't, can't, won't. But to be safe, I prefer to write does not instead of doesn't. Additionally, good signposting language linking this to this. Additionally, some people believe, did I have some people? No, people who prefer. Some people believe that reading books on screens can give you problems with your vision, eyesight. However, comma, I have had however earlier. Maybe I just change this however. Nevertheless. I like yet, but I know a lot of people don't know yet. Yet as a contraster, I mean, not as in present perfect, I haven't done it yet, but can give you problems with your vision, full stop, yet, comma, in the 21st century. But okay. Nevertheless, in the 21st century, comma, looking at screens is part of our daily lives. And if reading ebooks was really, and if reading ebooks really, I'm going to change was to were here. Again, I can use was and I can use were. These are rules about subjunctive, about conditionals. Was or were is allowed here in this hypothetical stuff. And I think were just makes it sound a bit more professional, a bit more academic. And if reading ebooks really were a serious threat to our health, comma, I do not think that shops would be allowed to. So I got this would, hypothetical. Okay, despite these downsides, comma, these downsides, which downsides? These downsides. No. Yes, these downsides. This one and this one. Cool. These downsides. The most obvious upside is the wider availability of books in a digital format. What do I mean here? For example, comma, sometimes we want to buy a particular book, comma, but the shop simply does not have it. This rarely happens when we buy books online. Another major advantage, one more on top of this, another major advantage of ebooks is that we do not have to store them in our homes. Physical books are heavy and take up a lot of space, while hundreds of ebooks can fit on a device which is small enough to put in your pocket. In conclusion, while some people might be against certain aspects of reading ebooks, comma, it seems clear to me that the advantages are far more significant than the disadvantages. People have always been suspicious about new technologies, and I believe that the majority of people will soon accept the new way of reading. Let's just change this. People have always been suspicious about new technologies, but I believe that these suspicions will disappear in the next few decades, let's say. Now, I don't like that either. People have always been suspicious about new technologies such as television and the internet. And I believe that people will soon accept this new way of reading. Okay, I'm going to go back to my first idea. Okay, just want to mention something about topic sentences. So the first sentence of each paragraph, except the introduction, the first sentence of each paragraph really should give us the main idea here. We should be able to, read an essay just by reading the first sentences. So people who prefer paper books often talk about the feel and smell of physical pages. Nice topic sentence. Additionally, some people believe that reading books on screens can give you problems with your vision. Clear what I mean there. Despite these downsides, the most obvious upside is the wider availability of books in digital format. And then another major advantage of ebooks is that we do not have to store them in our homes. So all of those topic sentences are very, very clear, easy to understand, and makes the target reader fully informed of our position. So for me, this is task response band 9. This is coherence and cohesion band 8. Grammar band 7, maybe 8. Vocab band 7, maybe 8. So, it's comfortably a 7, probably an 8, maybe not quite good enough for a 9. I would ask ChatGPT, but ChatGPT always gives 6 or 7 for this type of writing. But I promise this type of writing is worth a 7 or an 8. So I hope that video was instructive, informative. Again, there's nothing to worry about with these advantages and disadvantages, or do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Follow that 6-paragraph format. If you want to stick to 4 paragraphs, fine, but I like this 6-paragraph format with this type of test. If you have any comments or suggestions, let me know in the comments section. Also, if there's a particular piece of writing, maybe you've seen an IELTS question either from task 1 or task 2, and you just think like, how the heck am I supposed to do this task? Let me know. I'm more than happy to do these writing tasks. They're kind of fun for me. And just notice it's 30 minutes. So this whole video I've been speaking and adding commentary and doing my brainstorm, and it's still just 30 minutes. So I have 10 minutes if I want to look back through my writing and check anything or change any details. But I think it's okay. If you'd like me to check your IELTS writing and give feedback, or if you would like me to give a free practice speaking test with feedback, you can request this in the Telegram group. A link to the Telegram group is given below. But for now, I will leave it there. Have a wonderful day and see you all very soon. Bye-bye.